96.6. Still hanging in there. Quick story about Bob Fosse. He had just suffered his second heart attack. He had his open heart surgery. So he was getting his affairs in order. So while he's recovering in the hospital, he's making out his will. While he's doing this, his best friend in the world, Patty Chayefsky, comes to visit. Sees that he's working on the will and says, "Hey, Bob, can I take a look at it? Make sure everything's okay." And he says, "Yeah, sure, Patty, go ahead." So Patty's reading the will. He's reading the will. And after a couple of minutes, he turns to Bob and says, "Bob, I'm not in this will." And Bob goes, "Well, I'm sorry. I've got to take care of Nicole. I've got to take care of the kids. I've got a lot of other stuff I have to deal with, and you're doing all right." And he says, "I'm your best friend in the world, and I'm not in the will." And Fosse just looks at him and says, "Yeah, Patty, you're not in the will?" And Chayefsky looks at him, throws the will into his face and says, "Fuck you, live." I don't know why I wanted to open that story, except, if anything, the one thing we should be yelling at each other right now is, "Fuck you, live." I'm not going to lie. I've been incredibly unproductive since last we spoke. I've been trying to get stuff done, but I'm having a bad case of writer's block, which is pairing well with my cabin fever. Now all I need is a drinking problem and an axe, and I'm Nicholson in The Shining, So basically, I've spent the last couple of weeks, I've been dealing with the unemployment situation. Hopefully that's going to be resolved this week. Catching up on movies, playing video games, jerking off. I'm not going to lie, there's been a lot of jerking off. I mean, we're talking high school levels of jerking off. I mean, it makes sense. There's a worldwide pandemic going on. We're all stuck in our apartments. We all have computers, so we have access to the greatest repository of porn the universe has ever seen. So yeah, guess what? We're going to spend a good chunk of our time jerking off like a bunch of frightened howler monkeys trying to stave off the feeling of death. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. It's good. It's healthy. It raises the serotonin levels of your blood. It makes you a little happier. It's good for the cardiovascular system. There is absolutely nothing wrong with jerking off. I don't care what the Catholics say. It is healthy. Meanwhile, here in Oregon, we're up to 1,068 cases of the virus, with 27 deaths. Thankfully, I'm still healthy. Everybody I know is still healthy. I haven't heard of anybody within my circle of friends getting hit with this yet. Fingers crossed. My aunt in California, she's fine too, so I mean, let's not pat ourselves on the back just yet. This is going to leave a scar. The one thing I can plug this week is that I'm on an episode of Matinee Heroes, the podcast, which you can find on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, wherever you do your podcasting thing. Me and host Craig Price, we spend the hour talking about the Warren Beatty 1990 film Dick Tracy. It's an interesting conversation. We talk about Warren Beatty, Madonna, Stephen Sondheim, Vittorio Straho, the cinematographer. It's a nice, long, chunky discussion. And as I've said before, if you have your own podcast and you would like to have me on it, hit me up on Twitter, theragingcelt.com, or through my website, celticrayfilmworks.com, which I will hopefully try to update this week. I do have a couple things in the pipeline I should be able to post soon. Really, that's it for now. I'm sorry this is kind of a short episode, but there's really nothing much to report until there is. So, hang tough. Keep thinking good thoughts. Wash your hands. And fuck you, live.